Used to keep it cool, used to be a fool, all about the bounce in my step. Watch it on the news, what you gonna do? I could hit refresh and forget. Used to keep it cool.
Hey guys, so today in this video for these notes we're going to talk about how to solve word problems that require equations. On your test, which is a week from today, so next Friday, there's going to be regular equations, properties, and word problems. So this is the last thing we have to learn for our test next week. Before we get started with the word problems, there's a couple things I just want you to keep in mind, so we're going to go over some reminders. So first, there are 3 switcheroo words, so hopefully you remember these from the last unit. They are from, than, and to. Remember, that means that when we see these words somewhere in our word problem, we have to switch the order that we're either adding or subtracting. Is, are, was, were, has, have, will be, etc. all mean the same thing. They are going to mean equal. Okay, so that means that's where we're going to put our equal sign. And since we are solving equation word problems, equations have equal signs. So there you go. Okay, so before we solve our equations, just to give you some example steps that we could use to solve and write our equations, they're just kind of general guidelines for us. The first thing we want to do is identify the variable, or what does x represent. So obviously it's a word problem that has a question, and the question is what you're trying to solve, right? So whatever variable you're sticking into your equation should represent what you're trying to solve. So if you're trying to find the hours or the minutes or the messages or whatever it may be, the x represents that. Then there are clue words that help you tell where the x is going to go. And so those 3 clue words are per, each, and every. When you see these next to a number, so it's like $10 per hour or 50 cents every cookie or something like that, per, each, and every are going to tell you which number is being multiplied by the variable, and that's where your variable is going to go in our equation. Okay, obviously the third step, once you have your equation that you've written, you want to solve it. And then last but not least, you want to answer the question in the problem, but don't forget your units. So just like in the proportion unit, when we had to put units on our answer, this is the same thing. We have to have units on our answer. Okay, we're going to do 4 questions together. So first one, Sean scored 4 less goals than Leo. Okay, so the first thing I notice here is that there's this word than, which is a switcheroo word. Okay, so we know we're going to have to switch things around. The other thing is that we have 2 different people in this equation. So we have Sean, which I'm going to use S for Sean and L for Leo. So for our first sentence, Sean scored 4 less goals than Leo. Scored is where our equal sign is going to come in. Okay, so Sean equals 4 less goals than Leo. Since this is a switcheroo word, we're going to write the Leo first, and then 4 less means subtract. So here is our first part of our equation. Sean scored 4 less goals than Leo, so S is equal to L minus 4. But then they told us how many goals Sean scored. So instead of S, we're going to put in 8 goals for Sean, right? Because Sean scored 8 goals. So instead of this S, we're going to change that to an 8. Then from there, we just have a one-step equation to solve to figure out how many Leo is going to score. So since this is minus 4, we're going to add 4 to both sides to cancel out these 4s, and we get Leo is equal to 12. So then our final answer here, we have 12 goals. We're going to put units on our answer. Okay, the second one has to do with a money scenario. The ones on your test next week will mostly have to do with money, so this one is kind of more like the ones on our test next week. So it costs you $2.50 to rent bowling shoes. Each game costs you $3.50. If you have exactly $15, how many games can you play? So the first thing I want to think of here, or that I noticed here, is that it has one of these words that's going to help us figure out where the x goes. So if we look, it has each game costs you $3.50. The bowling shoes, you're only renting the bowling shoes once. You don't have to pay for them every game. It's just $2.50 or 55 cents to rent the bowling shoes. So when we set up our equation, it's going to look like this. $2.55 to rent our bowling shoes, that's just one time, plus $3.50 each game, so that each says that's where our variable is going to go. So that $3.50 is being multiplied times each game, because you're going to have to pay it every single time you play a game. But we don't know how many games we're having, so that's why we put the G in there for games. But we know that it has to be equal to $15 because that's how much money you have. You can't go over the $15, so we're going to set it equal to the 15. This is actually a two-step equation that we're going to solve. So we want to get rid of the number by itself first. So the $2.55 we're going to subtract from both sides of our equal sign, right? And so this is going to cancel that out. And then we're going to have $3.50 times G left over on this side, because those are gone, and then 15 minus 255 is $12.45. But then we still have one more step, right? Because we don't have G by itself yet. $3.50 is for each game, so it's being multiplied by the games. So to undo it, we're going to have to divide on both sides by $3.50. When we do that, these $3.50 cancel out, right? And so we're left with G on that side, and then we have 3.557. So in this case, since we're talking about how many games you can play, if we only have $15, we can't round this up to 4 games, because then we would be over our amount of money that we have. It would cost too much. So you don't want to round up because then you won't have enough money. If we can only afford 3.5 games, well then we can only play 3 games. We can't round it up. So our answer here, 3 games. Okay. Number 3. Ellie bought a new laptop that cost $3,995. She paid $350 for the down payment and plans on paying the remaining amount over the next 18 months in equal payments. How much money will she pay each month? Okay, so we are looking at this word right here, each month. So month must be our variable, right? Each was one of those words that helps you identify the variable. And the other thing that we have to know is that a down payment, the $350, a down payment is what you pay originally. So she didn't pay the entire amount. She only paid $350, and then the rest she has to pay over time because she can't afford this much right now. So then you would do 18 months for the payments. So here's what our equation looks like. $350 is their original amount that she paid, plus she's paying 18 months, and we don't know how much money it's going to be each month, but it's 18 months of payments, so 18 times M. And we know that once she's done, it has to equal $3,995 because that's the entire price of the laptop, right? So $350 down payment plus each month has to equal that. So then we have a two-step equation. We're going to subtract $350 on each side, which again is going to cancel these out. And we would get 18M is equal to 3,645 when you subtract those. Then these are being multiplied, 18 times M. So to get rid of it, we're going to have to divide by 18 on both sides, which cancels out those 18s. And then M is going to be equal to 202.5. But since we're talking about how much money she's going to pay, our final answer is $202.50. Okay, number 4. Joanne had to pay an electrician to fix something in her home. He charged a service fee of $65 just to look at the problem, and then charged $30 per hour to fix it. If the total was $170, how many hours did he work? So first, per hour, this $30 per hour is saying that we need to put that variable with the 30. It's going to be 30 times H, right? Because each hour you have to pay this $30. The $65 is just the one-time fee. It's just the thing that he needs to come and look at the problem. So here is our equation. 65 plus 30 times h, because that per hour means times h, because we don't know how many hours it is equal to 170. Then to solve this two-step, we're going to subtract 65 on both sides, which again is going to cancel this out. And then we would have 30h is equal to 105, because 170 minus 65, 105. And then to get rid of this 30 that's still there, it's being multiplied by h. So the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So we're going to divide on both sides by 30. When we do that, h is going to be equal to 3.5. So our final answer here is 3.5 hours. Okay, your job is to complete the next 6 questions on the back of the U-Try on your own. When you are done, you can get it checked and make sure that you're on the right track. If you need help, please help each other. And also, there is an answer key posted on Blackboard that you can double check when you have tried them, just to make sure. The one thing I want to point out is that down here, when we're talking about this car that he's going to buy, it says that he paid a down payment and then he's going to pay over 3 years, but then they want to know the monthly payments. So when you set up your equation, you need to have this information right here. The 3 years equals 36 months. Okay? 1 year is 12 months, so over 3 years he's going to be paying for 36 months. So there should be a 36 somewhere in your equation. Okay? Not a 3. We're talking about months, so it's 3 years, and then 36 months are in those 3 years. Just a helpful hint. All right, good luck, guys.